If you're watching this video, then in all probability you're not exceptional. Don't worry, neither am I. In this video I'm gonna talk about why that is probably true for most of us and why that's okay. Now, when I talk about exceptionalism in this video, I don't really mean the feeling of superiority that someone might have about themselves, their beliefs, their values, and so on. The kind of meaning that you might find associated with phrases like American exceptionalism, white exceptionalism, and so on. Rather, what I really refer to is the need we have to be exceptional, to be special, to be extraordinary in some way. There are many causes that have contributed to the development of this strong urge to be special within us. For example, if you're currently doing a PhD, then in all probability you were very good in school and probably the best in your class or in your whole school or maybe in the university. And what's more, you were probably also encouraged, if not outright pushed by your parents to excel and to be the best at whatever it was that you did, be it school, sports, playing an instrument, or whatever it was that you did. For many of us, perhaps this twisted itself into meaning that we are only worthy of love and affection when we are doing well or are the best at a certain external activity in our lives. This need to be extraordinary has been further enhanced by the current social media and news culture, which is a very winner-take-all environment. Basically, only the hottest piece of news makes it out there and the rest are actively suppressed. Only the people with the most followers are promoted and the rest are kind of shunned. We only read and believe the papers that have the most citations and the rest we forget and disregard. All of this bombardment with the extraordinary leaves us little room for favorable comparisons. When all we knew was our close circle of friends, family and co-workers, we had a decent chance of being the best at something, at our job, at bowling, at science, at anything. However, when you can compare yourself to the best of the best at anything, anytime, with just a click away, then you're bound to be always less than, worse than somebody. And obviously, this doesn't contribute to your general level of happiness. Finally, and perhaps even more fundamentally, our need to be extraordinary, to be exceptional, comes from our fear of death. Since we cannot avoid death, then we try to cheat it by ensuring that we are special, that we are so special, in fact, that history remembers our names. Perhaps if we won a Nobel Prize or won the World Cup or played in a movie, then our names will live on in eternity. This concept is what Ernst Becker in his book The Denial of Death calls our immortality projects, and he discusses in depth how our fear of death motivates us to do most of the things we try to achieve in life. A great example of this is Achilles, who, when told by his mother that he could either live a long and happy life with a wife and children until old age, but be completely extraordinary and be forgotten in history, or going to Troy and gaining eternal glory and his name remembered forevermore in history, at the price of his own death, of course, he chooses the latter. He chooses immortality in history rather than a long and happy life.
Immortality! Take it! It's yours!
And you might be thinking at this point, well, what is so wrong about wanting eternal glory and a place in history? Why is exceptionalism a curse? And the answer is that there is nothing wrong with the need to be extraordinary at all, other than that it will make most of us miserable most of the time. And that's because it's statistically impossible for all of us to be exceptional. You see, we humans have, it seems, a problem of thinking statistically when it comes to real problems in everyday life. And this has been discussed at length in the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, where he shows a lot of the biases and heuristics to which we are prone to. For example, when they ask separately married couples about the percentage of chores, of house chores that they think they contribute to, the answers consistently exceeded 100% when put together. So each one of the partners was consistently overestimating their own contribution to the house chores. In a similar way, most of us will fall into this part of the Gaussian curve, since most of the observations are found in this range. However, that doesn't stop most of us from wanting or expecting to be in this part of the distribution, failing to realize that if all of us were there, then that would mean that just the average of the distribution has shifted and we once again find ourselves in the meh zone. That's basically it. That's the reason why all of us cannot be extraordinary. It's basically mathematically impossible. And if there's something more likely to make you miserable than chasing after an imaginary future where you will be happy, is chasing an imagined future that is impossible to happen. I believe that happiness can only be attained in the present moment, and agonizing over your place in the hierarchy or your rank or your name in history doesn't really help with that. And if you want a little more discussion on comparisons with other people, please look at my other video here, where it's, I believe, number 5 of the list of the mistakes that I personally did. And I personally struggle with still, to be honest. What I really wanted to stress in this video is an alternative way of looking at things. A kind of paradigm shift, if you'd like. And that is that you don't have to be extraordinary for your life to have some meaning. You don't have to be exceptional to be able to contribute to the world around you. There have been many scientists' names that are forgotten now and we don't know, but without whose contributions progress in science would have been impossible. Because progress in science doesn't only happen when a Newton or a Darwin comes along. It doesn't happen always in leaps like that. There are myriad steps that make these kind of quantum leaps possible, even though we don't always see those little steps and those little contributions. And also, you don't have to be exceptional in order to help out others in some way. And for example, all the staff of the NHS that are currently dealing with this pandemic, most people would agree that they are quite ordinary in many ways. And despite that, without their contributions and without their sacrifice, we would all be much worse off. And this is in a way what I would like to show with my channel, and why the name is The Average PhD Student. I would like to show that even though I'm not extraordinary or exceptional in any way, I believe, I can still contribute to other people. I can still help them avoid some of the mistakes I did, or I can maybe help them think in somewhat different ways that in the end help them grow or evolve, perhaps, hopefully. And it is also to show that we all share the same struggles, the same anxieties, the same fears. We're all in the same boat, and that's okay. I used to call this the soup of mediocrity that we are all boiling in. And however, over the last few years, I've come more and more to find that that's okay. It just brings a kind of companionship with the world to share the same issues, you know? And finally, I really want to emphasize that you don't have to be extraordinary in order to be loved and to matter. So please check the book Stoner if by John Williams if you'd like to read an extraordinary book about a very ordinary university professor. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you get some value out of it. Please let me know in the comments whether you also struggle with this issue as I do. And if you find some value in this channel, please consider subscribing and liking this video. See you all in the next one.